Hello, Stellar people, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey, and today we're going to do a short demo on Adobe Illustrator. Pretty much everything I know that I have learned from other places on YouTube that I will have a link in the description. So here we have what I see when I open the program. To the left, there is the new file and open. So here we have some characters that I'll be using. Beautiful Beast Kiss, StarBot, the robot, DC, Demon Cat, or MoonTiger, and this is Mockton. But first, I'll show you how I import or place an image that I've already drawn into the program. Command N for command new. This comes up. You can select anything that you desire. The right side of the panel are the size, right? Pixels, or you can change it to points, picas, inches, yards, millimeters, centimeters. You can name it, but I usually name it once I've already placed something in there because I know where I'm going. RGB and CMYK is mostly for print. If you are going to print something and it is not going to be in a digital, like on your website or seen on a screen, say a tablet or a phone, and you know it's going to be printed, you would use CMYK. I use mostly RGB. Everything looks good, so let's create that. And here's a new canvas. If I want to place something in here, I go to File, Place. I select what I want to put in here, the screenshot of the heads. I go down to, there's these little check marks. Link, template, show import options. I click on template and hit place. And it will bring in the screenshot that I did. And if you see on the right side, it has locked the layer. It has not faded the screenshot back and created a layer on top automatically. I didn't really have to do anything, but I want to unlock it so I can size it. Click on that layer. It's unlocked. I will now scale it with the free transform, which is E as a shortcut. I try to remember shortcuts, but we're doing this the long way as for this demo. So free transform. Forgot to click it. Click it. And then I size it. If I hold shift, it won't distort and it'll keep the image the same size as it was intended. Just a little bit. Okay. And there we have our image placed in, and I hit a lock button to lock it. And then I go to the layer on top. And that's how I usually, and then I would save at this point. But let's do something new, same options, create. Now, we're gonna go over some of the basics and what I use the most. So looking on the left-hand side, here we have the selection tool, which is a darkened arrow. And the direct selection tool allows you to move objects. Right next to it is the direct selection tool with the A. That's the shortcut, A. And with the direct selection, you can grab anchor points and arms that come off of anchor points. And you can move things and shift things around. I use these a lot. Now the tool I use the most often is the pen tool, which is P for the shortcut. The pen tool will create an anchor point, and from that anchor point, if you hold and drag, an arm will come off of that anchor point. And then you can manipulate the arms, and you can even break the arms, but I'll show that in a little bit. What else? The scale that we saw, well, scale is S. Free transform, scale is S, the shortcut. Free transform is E. And the shape builder tool. Also, there is the magnifying glass or zooming, which is Z. But since I'm using a pen and a tablet where I'm drawing on the tablet, I can scale it up in my own way. And if I hold down the space bar, the hand comes up. Space bar for the hand, and then I can move the whole canvas around. I can hit Z and then go to my, drag to my left, it goes smaller, drag to my right, it gets bigger. And I use that often to move around. So let's make some shapes. So we got the shapes. I use shapes a fair amount in addition with the pen tool to make certain specific objects. But let's say we want to make different shapes. So we have the rectangle, and you can get to that with an M, just pressing the M button. So let's make a rectangle. Okay. That will automatically do it. Let's go to the properties on the far right. Properties. This area I use a lot. Appearance. With the fill, stroke, I don't really touch opacity much, but fill and stroke I use a lot. So let's touch on this little square and change the color where this little box comes up. So let's change it to a rectangle. Let's say is a pale green. And I usually touch off to the side of that little box and I'll make that go away. Let's make another shape. Let's say a rounded rectangle. And let's change this color with the fill by touching that. We'll make this a darker green. Forest green or so. Touch off to the side, make that little box go away. Let's go for another. The ellipse tool, but if we hold shift, the ellipse will be a circle. If you free range it, it can make a different size shape. And that's without holding the shift, which will lock it and make us a nice circle. But let's say the A button for the selection tool. I can touch into this green circle, touch the fill, change the color to, if I touch into the ellipse and touch the fill color and change that to a nice, let's do the opposite of blue. Let's do red. Maybe too bright. Yeah, I'll go for an orangey red. All right. And so we have our simple shapes. And I use shapes when I need to, but let's make a shape but not have it filled. Let's mess with some stroke on it. So if we have a polygon tool, let's make a polygon. If I hold shift, it'll lock it. And let's say that this, a white box with a red line going through it, means no fill. No fill. And then if I go to the stroke, also in the appearance, just below the fill, I can increase the size of the stroke. I usually go about 5 for my thickest lines, 5 or 6. And then I work down from there. My outside lines are usually about a 5-point stroke. And that is a stroke with no fill. Let's make another shape, and I want to show you something. So let's say the star tool. Make a star tool. Let's overlap it a little bit. A very large star. So also let's make this stroke, say a 3. Actually, let's make it bigger. Let's make it a 9 or 7. How about 7? 7 star. 7 stroke star overlapping this polygon, that's a 5. Now, if I want to say I don't want this star to overlap the polygon behind it, I can select both of them. Right. A for the direct selection tool. I make sure both are selected, and then I can go to the shape builder tool. which is Shift M as a shortcut. But let's touch that. And you can see now, right, this gray mesh will go over some of these areas. And you'll see, let's zoom in a little bit. Spacebar for the hand so I can move it so it's centered. Now you'll notice on my little arrow, there's a plus. And then if you hit Option on my Mac, Option, there will be a minus. Plus, minus, plus, minus. Now what the minus does, which is what I really love, is that you see the red line? It means it will delete this line, this overlap. So if I delete that, it's gone. And now I have, let's zoom out, spacebar for the hand and move it, right? And now these two don't overlap. It's like one is merging into the other. And I use this a lot on my characters. But let's move those to the side. Let's go back to the A. A for the selection tool. Move that over. Now let's go to the pen tool. The pen tool is shortcut P. And if I want to touch, is where it will start. And there's a blue line that comes off of it. And this is where your line will be. Let's take the stroke down to 5. And if I hold Shift and touch, it'll make a relatively straight line. All right, hold Shift, touch, straight line. But if I don't hold Shift and touch an area, but don't let go, hold and drag, and arms will come off. Right? And with that, I can control the curvature of this line, which will then make a line in a shape, let's say like this. It just made that curve, and these are the arms. Let's say I want to make another curve. Touch, hold, and then drag. Right? Don't let go until you've got it placed where you want it to be. So if I want it to be like this, I can let go, and there's another arm. Now, the thing I use a lot is two things. Let's zoom in here. Hold the space bar. This is the center. Okay, with command, it makes the pen tool a white arrow. Pen tool, white arrow. And if you touch an arm, anchor point, you can then move, right? You can then move that arm. And it gets more complex as we make these more and more lines, right? But I'm holding it and I'm moving it around, and I can shift and alter the shape. And I let go. And if I want to break an arm, and this is what I call a breaking arm, hold down the Option and touch the anchor point in the center where the two arms come off of. Do that, and one of the arms is broken. And why would I do that? And I'll show you that right now. So if I want another point, touch the point. Didn't do it right, didn't hold it. So Command Z to undo. So touch, hold. There's this curve. And see this point? This point was made because I broke that arm. It'll make a sharper point. Right? So that if I'm doing shapes, a lot of shapes, and I want to make another wavy line. Well, first let's Command grab one of these arms. I do this a lot. So I can shorten the arm, which gives me a better angle to make another curve. So let's make another curve. Now the difference between this curve end, is it's more rounded. This is sharper, right? Sharper, more rounded. So depending on what you want, like for hair, for one of my characters, I do more spiky hair and I use this more than this rounded edge because I like that nice sharp point. And that was the basics of what I use the most often. So let's apply that to the characters. And also, if you want to just end a line, hit the escape button, and it will just drop that line. So I can start a line and say I don't want to continue it. It can just be that line by itself. And I hit escape, and that line will just be. All right. Here we have the characters. Now let's apply everything that we've seen so far. Let's start with StarBot because he is the most simple. Placed in the way I want it, and I have all these layers. Right? It's locked on this layer. I can turn it off and on so I can see the characters or not. The layer's locked. I usually have a color coded. So that StarBot is all the red ones. Mockton is the green and browns. Demon Cat MoonTiger is the purples. And Beautiful Beast Kiss, because she's a tiger, is the orangey colors. I have a system that I like to use over and over again. So this helps me that I can see the color and know pretty much who's on what color, what layer. Also, I have the black and gray layers that I usually use when I'm coloring things. Because I'll make a gray background so that I can test the colors on top of. It helps if there's like a neutral so that I can test colors instead of just white. And the gray I use for swatches and hexadecimal colors. But I'll go over that like in a couple weeks on a total process. But let's go back to StarBot. StarBot, all the layers are locked except for StarBot 1. I've got my pen tool and I can just touch, straight line, touch, another touch. Oh, I got the stroke on. Well, it's the fill on. So we go to properties. We don't want any fill, so the white box with the red line through it. No stroke, no fill. I'm sorry. The stroke will make a 5. Because I like my outside lines to be a 5. So touch. And then if you want to complete the line, let's zoom in here. Right. The pen tool, you see that little circle right at the corner of the pen tool? That means it will complete this line. If I don't want that, I can be off to the side and touch. But it's not connected. So Command Z to undo that. And I'm right back to that line. And I want to touch this corner where the circle comes up. Boop. And it completes that. So now we have our diamond shape robot. So let's start the inside lines. And I usually go smaller inside strokes. So let's say this is going to be a 3. 3 stroke, no fill. Go to the layers, right? It's building us all in this layer. It's unlocked, properties, and I can touch, 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 touch. And pen tool with the little circle, it means it'll complete it. And we're good. And to finish this guy off, all I need is a circle. So we go to shapes, ellipse tool, or L. Hold shift because I want a nice circle. Make the shape. There's no fill. Stroke, I want to turn it down just to 2. And there we have it. And if I want to move the shape, hit A or the selection tool. A or V. A or V. Let's do the V. Move, touch the center, and we can move it. And there we have StarBot. Super simple, right? He was just straight lines, more or less. For something more complex, let's do Mockton. Mockton is fairly simple. Let's go to layers, lock StarBot's layers, because he's done. Let's go to Mockton's layers. Let's go with this olive green, and let's work on him for a little bit. So I scaled him up to fill the screen. Okay, it's unlocked. Go to properties, and the P for the pen tool, or we can touch this. But that's a shortcut, P for the pen tool. And start here. Curve, and I want no fills, yes. But outside lines, I usually do a 5. And then I work all the way around. And I shorten things shorten arms as I need to, like I want it short here. Command. While I'm holding command, I can push this arm in. If I want to break the arm, I can do that. Option, touch the anchor point. Right. Boop. Broke that arm. And then I continue. Command to shorten this arm, touch that, bring that in. And I work all over. Go over my lines. If I don't need to adjust the arms, I'm good. And just want to shorten that just a little bit. I don't want quite so much. Now, sometimes I will miss grabbing an arm. So let's say I miss holding command and I miss grabbing that arm, and the anchor points go away. I'm like, what happened? What went on? Right? So I can start it again. Just by touching on it. Or sometimes I just go backwards one step with the undo. I want to shorten this arm. Command. Right, the pen tool turns into a white arrow so that you know you're hitting command. Grab that arm, bring it in. And will this work? Sometimes I try to do too much. Will this work? It's just a tool. Not bad. But this arm is now too long. Well, will it work? Sometimes I want better curves. And so I do what I can for those better curves. Oops. Missed it. Right? Went away. And find that anchor point and start again. But let's undo that because I like the evenness. I like that nice swooshy. I want more swooshy. So there. That. Also, if I just want to drop the line, I can hit escape and it drops the line. And I can pick that back up by hitting the anchor point, and continuing on. Will that work? Will that work? Sure it will. Ah. But because I broke that arm, you see there's a sharper point. Again, this is just a demo. Command, grab this very long arm, bring that in so I can control this curve and then go into this curve. So it's a lot about curves and straights. Touch here, make another curve. I wanted that. I want another straight, but this won't let me do it, right? This arm is all the way out here. So it's making this automatic curve. If I just touched it, right, it'll make that automatic curve. So Command V, Command Z, go back, Command. See, you took away my arm. So I do that again, once more. Shoo. I have that arm, Command, grab it, bring it in without wrecking that other line. Go down, and then I can touch this, and there's the pin with the circle, which means it'll complete this. And then I can, as I'm still holding it, right? I'm holding it, and boom. Oh, we can fix that. With the A, touch that anchor. Let's go in. And we can adjust things. Sometimes adjusting other arms. Lost that. Anchors. Touch where you think the anchors points are. Make it come back. Let's grab this arm. Shift it a little bit. Right? Sometimes it gets more pronounced. Other times it'll shorten it just a bit. That's Mockton's outside of his head. And then within his head, I do smaller stroke lines, or like a 4 or 3s, 2s, and 1s for details. So let's do his eyes. And I do eyes differently. Well, not differently, I do them the way I do them. So I take an ellipse. Okay, we're on the ellipse. I make a small ellipse. I want that stroke way down. To say a 2, I hit the E for the free transform, which makes the arrow, like this two-way arrow means I can rotate it. I can rotate it, get it to where you want it. Okay. I can also hold down the option as I touch the center. We'll go to A for the, is it direction selection? Hit A. I can hold down option, and you see the plus sign. Let's touch the plus sign. Let's get in there. All right. When I touch option, the plus sign comes up. And if I touch the center, did not touch the center. If I touch the center, it'll make a copy. And then I let it go. And then I can hit the E, rotate, this the way I want it, and I have like the little corners of the inside of your eye. I usually make those. And then after that, go to the pen tool, and usually I do eyes on separate layers because they can get quite involved. And this is my process for eyes. So we're gonna fill this after we do a non-filled strokes. So let's do this. Making large, lovely eyes. Oh, did not hold it. So Command Z, back up. Okay. So I can adjust that. And I usually pick where, just on random sometimes, where I want to place my lines. Sometimes you can go way out and then adjust it as you need, but I like more anchor points because I feel it's more control. Sometimes I like a lot of control. So I want this to be a curvy line. Did not hold, drag and hold. So Command Z. I make a lot of mistakes, but that's just part of the game. Okay, so come out once more. Hold, drag, and I want to break this arm because I want a sharper eyelash. So Option, go to the anchor point. The pen tool turns to a white arrow when you hit Option. Option, anchor point, breaks the arm. And then go to my next area, and now if I adjust the arms, it can make a sharper point. Do I want this? How do I want this? Command, let's try this arm. Command, grab that, bring it in. It's eyelashes. He's childlike, so he has like these longer eyelashes. Option to break this arm, break it. Come back in. We can do one, can we do one shape? Let's make it two. The lower. Command, shorten arm. And then we come. Now I'm since this is all on one layer, I'm going beyond where I want this to connect with this ellipse. So that, drag that. And now I'm making the inner part of the eyelash, right? The inner part of the eyelash. This part is fairly simpler. And my drawing is just a guide. I go off script a lot. It's just a guide. I'm not beholden to anything. Just want to make the best thing that I can. Okay, so now when I'm just about done, or once I'm done, I hit the fill, right? So we go over to this corner, on the right side, hit the box to bring this up, and I want it to be black fill. I touch off of it, and then I command, grab this arm, and bring it in, and then I complete, right? The pen circle will complete this. If you hold, arms can come off of it so you can control it still. Let go. And that is, right, his eyelashes. And that's how I usually do eyelashes, where I make the shape and then I fill it at the end. And then say he's gonna have an oval eye, so I can make an ellipse. V for the, what is that? Selection, direct selection. Okay, selection. I forget the names of them all the time. And if I want to copy it and drag this over, Option. Keep holding Option as you drag it off. Once you let go, then you can let go of the option. And there is the eye. Let's select this. Let's copy this also. Copy it. Move it over. Let's say move it above. And now we're going to flip this. And how do I do that? It's been a while. Was it edit? Transform. Object. I forgot. So object, transform, and then reflect while it's selected. Reflect. All right, it'll flip it, and you can say horizontally, vertically, or at an angle. I want it vertically. Okay. And I can move that into place. That is how I do it. All right, so that's an example of Mockton. So let's say Beautiful Beast Kiss. So let's go to her. Let's lock Mockton, lock him, so that we're not messing with his layers. Beautiful Beast Kiss, unlock her layer. We're ready, we're ready. Property. P for the pen tool, or you can touch the tool on the side, P. Pen tool. Now let's do her hair. And how I do her hair is I like those pointy spikes. She has spiky hair. She's a sun tiger. So I try to go for larger shapes where I can. Ooh. Forgot to turn off that fill. Touch that. The box with the red line through it, no stroke. No fill. Sorry, keep getting. Touch off the side. And that arm is way out here, right? So it's gonna warp this line if I do it just regularly. So Command, grab the arm. Oop, you missed. You missed it, bro. Command Z. Let's do it again. Okay. Cool. Fill. No fill. Touched off the side. Command. Grab the arm. Bring it in. Bring it in. Okay. And I want this to be curved like so. So that means I want this spiky, right? So Option, the pen turns into an arrow. Touch the anchor point, broken. So that there's only one arm now. And then I touch and, right, gives me that nice point. Oh, I forgot, this is an outside line. I usually do 5s. This is just how I do it. I like outside lines to be more dominant than the inside lines for more delicate and detailed work. But I pick and choose and decide on my own whims how this should go. And I encourage you to do the same. So Command, right, pen tool turns to a white arrow, grab that arm, bring it in. And then I don't like this. I want it a little bit more slopey than swoosh. So Command Z, undo that. So sometimes you need to try a shape and then you go, no, I want it a little bit more like this. Right, since I didn't break the arm, this is a smoother curve and then a sharp. Right. So let's continue. Right? It's a nice swoosh into this. Swoosh. Again, I break the arm with Option. A little pen turns to an arrow. Break that. Push A. Go to this anchor point. I can mess with. Right? See how that point just popped in there? Sometimes you need to just adjust things. And then I can go back to the pen tool with the P, or touch the tool up on the left-hand side. Go with P. And then from this anchor point, you see that little slash? Means I'll pick it up. Pick it up again. And this time, I'm not too concerned about the swoosh. Break that arm with the Option. And then bring that. And sometimes the lines look funky. For various reasons, but you can adjust things later. I try to get the overall shape and then mess with it at the end, but it all depends on what I'm going for. But say I just want to abandon the line, I just hit Escape, line's abandoned, go to the A button, hit the anchor point, adjust the arm. I think it's because the other, yep. Sometimes things get funky. Option. But yeah. But I do that. Those are the features that I use the most often. But I do want to show you one final thing. Here I have the characters all done up. But let's take a look at Mockton. Not Mockton. Demon Cat, the MoonTiger. I did all of this on one layer. So we go to Demon Cat. Let's log BK. Unlock Demon Cat. And if I turn it on and off, I did it all on one layer. And you can do everything on one layer. But you will notice that when we zoom into it, right, he has his hair going through his ears. And we don't want that. With the direct selection tool, let's select all of this. His whole head selected. And now let's go to the shape builder tool, which is Shift M as a shortcut. Shift M, or you can just touch it and you see the gray mesh on certain selected areas. Now let's delete some of these lines. So holding, right now there's a plus sign. If I hold Option, a minus sign comes up. See? Zoom in a little bit more. Plus sign, Option, minus sign. Plus sign, Option, hold, minus sign. And with that, we can go to the ears. Right, we don't want these lines, so we hold Option. When we see this red line, that means it's going to delete this line. Delete it. This line. Delete it. This line. Delete it. His hair going through his horn, which makes no sense. Option. Red line, you see that? Delete it. His left ear. Hold down the Option. See the red line, delete it. See the red line, delete it. See the red line, delete it. Zoom back out. And if I touch the A or V, I can go to the direct or direct selection tool. He no longer has his hair going through his ears. And so I do mix a match of all the techniques I just went over to make these heads. All right, bolder on the outside, thinner as we get to more of the details inside of the face, so that now they look more like icons. For Demon Cat's eyes, for example, I put Command Z, touch off of it to deselect all of that. Touch the part I want to move, and I can move it. So his eye is a total fill, while everyone else's eyes are not total fills, because he has that demon where the white part is black. And let's put his eye back into place. But yeah, it's based off of that oval, and then I did the shape, and then I filled it, and that's how I made the eye. The eye is a modified circle. I just moved in some points. Touch off of that to deselect it. But that is how I did these characters. And next week, I think the demo will be one character full body, just pointing out different techniques that I use in different areas. But yeah, you don't need to use all of the program. Right? I use just about 20%. I've been doing this for a couple of years, not too long, and I still want to get better. But these are the tools that I use most often to create characters, and it's all about making of things. So that was the little demo on Adobe Illustrator. Thank you for joining me. You can find my work at treyhodges.com. And until the next episode, take care, keep shining, and power to the creators. Bye.